Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to a new video today. Today we're talking about three NBA superstars I'd love to see play with Steph Curry on the Warriors, so let's get started. Welcome NBA fans, we're analyzing three players today that I'd like to see team up with Steph Curry. There are many NBA stars, obviously, but not all would fit well, especially in the Warriors context. If Curry joined another team, it might be a bit different, but that's not the case here. We're adapting to Curry's style to improve the current Warriors setup. So let's begin. The first player I think of for the Warriors, and probably the least likely, given the current situation, is LeBron James. We saw at the Olympics Curry and LeBron made an incredible duo. They played like they'd been teammates forever. And I have a feeling that on a team, both would perform at an incredible level. I'd actually prefer seeing LeBron on Golden State than Curry on the Lakers, I think, with Steph Curry. These three could wreak havoc in the NBA. They'd be clear contenders for the NBA title. Currently, Golden State isn't even top 10 favorites, probably due to their current roster. The Lakers, from what we've seen lately, aren't among the top 10 title favorites either. But the truth is, LeBron and Curry make a great duo. They complement each other. Well, I think they both dominate the outside game, but also their play in the paint. LeBron is a specialist in this area, and Curry is great at driving to the basket. He creates many opportunities and generates a good number of baskets. In fact, I believe that only because of the Bronny James situation, it makes me think this is impossible to ever see. Honestly, I'd really love to see it. I think they'd be clear championship contenders. It's not just about these two guys leading a championship caliber team. We also need to consider the background with Draymond Green there and players like Johan, who provide depth off the bench. They could be real title contenders. But really, bringing in a player who can shoot threes, who can drive to the basket, who can hit mid range shots, and is also a great passer. LeBron loves to rack up assists. This tells me Curry wouldn't be minimized at all. In fact, quite the opposite, I think. Curry's point total would increase playing with LeBron. Some players can be a bit selfish, only looking to score themselves, and that often doesn't work out. All right, let's start discussing the second option for the Golden State Warriors. Clearly, this won't happen this season, but the player has already threatened his team, his franchise, that he'll leave if they don't build a championship contending team. I disagree with this, and we'll discuss it in another video. We're going to talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo for the Warriors. I think out of all the players I'll mention in this list, he would be the best fit. Though it somewhat contradicts what I said earlier about fitting into Stephen Curry's system, the reality is that Giannis Antetokounmpo, I wouldn't say one of his best qualities is three-point shooting. I dare say it might be his worst quality. He's no Shaq, but he can't shoot threes well either. But honestly, in a team that shoots so many threes, to think your second best or best player by age uh, won't shoot many threes is a bit jarring, but the reality is that all Warriors players shoot threes. And as I mentioned with LeBron James, you need a player who can drive and do a bit of everything. He doesn't generate as many assists as LeBron James, but he's not far behind in that area either. In that regard, he's not such a selfish player that he'll never assist, and the truth is, in a team that shoots so much, it's never bad to have a player who'll dominate in the paint, conquering and winning. So for me, thinking the Bucks probably won't give Giannis the team he wants, it'd be normal if he leaves in the 25-26 season. Honestly, I don't think he'll stay. What might surprise me is if things change, like Damian Lillard gets traded and they bring in a more complementary team. Though I wonder if that's good or bad for Giannis's vision. Maybe Giannis says, "You brought a superstar, but not what the team needs overall. I'd prefer 3, 4 solid players who complement me and help make this team a champion." That'd be logical to me, but honestly, maybe he's thinking, "I want a victory. I want a third superstar on the team. I want you to bring me, let's say, a name like Paul George, for example, but well, I don't think that's what the Bucks need, and I don't think Giannis will get either one. I don't think they'll work on the Lillard issue, nor bring another superstar. So, seeing these conditions, I really don't think Lillard fits well with the Bucks. I'm pretty sure he won't stay next season. In fact, I'd say this will be Giannis's worst season with the Bucks. I think they'll make the playoffs, but honestly, seeing the Celtics level and considering the Sixers and Knicks, I think any of these three teams they face in the playoffs will eliminate them completely. And Giannis isn't that young either, to be honest. I think he's already 28, 29, but I still think it's a good time for him to join Golden State, motivated by winning more championships. Stephen Curry is 35, though he doesn't look it, and he's averaging over 30 points per game. The main difference between Damian Lillard and Stephen Curry is that Curry is more of a team player. Also, the difference between the Bucks and Golden State is Steve Kerr, who unlike Doc Rivers is one of the league's best coaches by far. This is important to consider as it would benefit Giannis Antetokounmpo greatly. I also feel Giannis is somewhat immature in certain aspects, but I'd like to think he'd learn a lot from Curry to improve as a player, just as any player would with Greg Popovich. The same applies to Curry, who's among the best, if not the best coach in the league currently. But it wouldn't be that simple, honestly. His salary would be substantial. Well, let's see how it all fits together. Let's begin with the third and final option. Of all these, it's perhaps the one I like least. But given how the NBA works and the unexpected trades that suddenly happen, which we don't see coming but later realize are quite typical, I think Kawhi Leonard is the kind of player who'll end up in Golden State. I have a feeling he's a player who fits well, like LeBron James. He's a player who's less offensive than LeBron, but equally versatile. He's good at mid-range three-pointers, defense, and playmaking. He's a well-rounded player who would be excellent for Golden State. In fact, I think he'd fit best because he wouldn't overshadow Stephen Curry's role as the star. I believe LeBron and Giannis will eventually demand that finals MVP and take that last shot. That's the feeling I get from these two players. Unlike KD and Leonard, though they're not bad players by any means, in fact, they're among the best in history. I think Stephen Curry is a notch above them. Curry has the offensive skills to lead the defensive game too, but he also needs support from a strong defensive player. Now, about injuries, I see a lot of criticism about Kawhi Leonard being injured often. This season, it's true. KD has had many injuries this season, but that's not everything. Honestly, in other seasons, I've seen him perform well. He even skipped the Olympics to stay healthy for the Clippers. I don't think the Clippers have a solid plan right now. I'm a big fan of James Harden. We'll talk about Harden later. But to be completely honest, I struggle to see Harden leading a championship team. Kawhi Leonard, given his age and physique, I also question if he can carry a team. Russell Westbrook just left. I was going to mention him, but I remembered he went to the Denver Nuggets. Honestly, with the Clippers' valuable assets right now, I'd start making trades and acquiring first-round picks. I'd basically do a project similar to the Oklahoma Thunder, keeping key players like Kawhi Leonard and James Harden. I'd get first-round picks for the next few years to build a young team with dynasty potential. I think this is the key difference between a dynasty and a team with very good players. For example, like last season, Paul George, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook. All these names 8 years ago, we'd say, wow, what an incredible team. But the reality is these super teams like the Golden State Warriors were built through draft picks, Oklahoma draft picks, Jordan's Bulls draft picks. So it's really a combination of all these factors. Honestly, the one I'd be most excited to see that I'd pay to watch is LeBron James. I'd like to see James Antetokounmpo. I think James is a player I really enjoy watching. And for the Warriors, it's also thinking about if Steph Curry retires in 1, 2, or 3 years. Though I see him at an excellent level, I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to play until he's 40, but we'll see. We'll see how it unfolds. 5 years is a long time. So someone will need to lead the Warriors after Curry. In fact, I think one of the teams that'll suffer most after Curry is obviously the Golden State Warriors. Well, that's all from me. I hope NBA fans really enjoyed this video. I'd love to read in the comments which players you'd like to see join the Warriors in case I missed any and analyze them. If a name really catches my attention, I might make a dedicated video about it. For instance, to briefly mention one name, Joel Embiid was a player who was suggested. He'd be great for the Warriors, but for those who don't know, I'm a Sixers fan, so it's hard to imagine us letting go of Joel Embiid. He's our franchise player, the best Sixer in the last 10 years. He's not too hard to acquire, but honestly, he's one of the most complete centers, if not the most, alongside Nikola Jokic. So obviously, this is a case where, for example, I wouldn't spend much time on, though it might not be bad. Suddenly, a Joel Embiid and Stephen Curry duo, I think they could fit together really well, especially considering it's a team that shoots so many threes. Joel Embiid is one of the centers who attempts the most threes, so I think it could naturally work well. But anyway, that's all from me. Bye bye.